Thank you, sir. May I now take the opportunity to introduce to you our chief guest, Mr. U.K. Sinha. Mr. U.K. Sinha has been appointed as the chairman of the SEBI with effect from February 18, 2011. Recently, Mr. Sinha was conferred by Economic Times the Business Reformer of the Year award for 2014 and for raising standards of corporate governance, strengthening the SEBI as an institution, and increasing confidence in India's capital markets. He is also a recipient of the 10th CNBC TV18 India Business Leader Award for outstanding contribution to the cause of Indian business. I now welcome Mr. U.K. Sinha to give us some insightful words.
Good morning, everybody. Mr. Prabodh Thakkar, President IMC, Mr. Ashish Chauhan, MD Bombay Stock Exchange, Mr. Leo Puri, MD UTI AMC, Mrs. Deena Mehta, Chairperson Capital Market Committee of IMC, Mr. Atul Mehta, Mr. Arvind Pradhan, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I'm reminded, and Mrs. Mehta mentioned it in her talk, that when I came here last year, I had requested her that she should find somebody else who can be here on this occasion, because last year it was my second time. But she has been so persistent, and I must say that the commitment that she exhibits and the dynamism that she brings to IMC, it is virtually impossible for anybody to say no to an invitation like the seminar on the investment outlook. And this is the third year in running that I have been participating here. Friends, a number of things have been said about our economy and our market. I would like to begin by saying that there is a new sense of optimism and confidence running through the whole length and breadth of this country. We are an economy which size is more than $2 trillion. We are seventh largest in the world on nominal terms, and we are projected to be the third largest on nominal terms by the year 2030. In fact, even today, on PPP basis, we are number 3, but by 2030, we are projected to be number 3 even on the nominal terms. And we have a diversified economy. We are not concentrated only on one element like some countries of the world have on commodities and thereby run the risk. Our market cap is more than $1.7 trillion. And the ratio of market cap to GDP is very healthy, around 86-87%. The cumulative foreign portfolio investment in this country is more than $180 billion. And if we look at their value, I have the value as on 15th of April, it is $385 billion. The GDP, as projected by IMF, I'm not talking of Government of India predictions or the projections made by the Reserve Bank of India. The projections made by IMF in April, that is this month, for 2015, the projection is 7.46%, and for 2016, 7.47%. RBI projections and government projections are even higher. But the important thing for us to note is that as per the IMF projections, in the year 2015, India is going to be the fastest growing economy, leaving behind our neighbor, which has been growing for the last 3 decades at a very, very high rate. So we will be the fastest growing economy this year. The compounded annual growth rate of our market has been very healthy. If you look at 5-year, 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, or from 1st April 1979 when Sensex was first calculated. So while all these things have happened, we are also noticing for the first time in this year after a gap of 4 or 5 years that the domestic flow in the equity market through the mutual fund route has been hugely positive. more than 71,000 crores net inflow in the equity market. While all these things are happening, I would also like to caution some of the challenges and risks that we run in this country. But before I talk of that, I will also like to mention some of the recent things which SEBI and the government has been trying to do. I'm not going into details of what has been done in the last 5 or 10 years, but some of the recent measures that we have taken. I would like to mention first the regulation with regard to real estate investment trust and infrastructure investment trust. These regulations are in place. In the finance bill, government has already made some announcement about capital gains tax. That point has been clarified. There are 2 pending issues even today on REITs with the government on the tax front. I have no clue what the government is going to do, but I'm aware that government is actively considering those 2 measures. The SME platform initiative which was taken and which was implemented about 2 years back, that I would say has been a reasonably big success. In the International Organization of Security Commissions, this initiative of India has been very well appreciated. Many countries such as Philippines, Brazil, they have been also thinking of how they can help their SMEs to get listed and raise capital. I'm happy that, I think, Ashish, you have got 94 companies? Huh? So 94 companies have been listed in BSE alone. NSE has also got some companies listed there. And I'm sure over a period of time, the listing of those companies will also increase. Some of you might be aware that SEBI, stock exchanges, SIDBI, and India Venture Capital Association, we have been going to different parts of the country. We are meeting small investors, small promoters, and trying to find out what facilities we can provide to them, what information and knowledge we can provide to them so that they can start considering that the good source for raising capital from them, for them is through the market. And you will be surprised that some of the feedback, and we went to places like Coimbatore, we went to Rajkot, Ahmedabad, about 8 or 9 places we have been, and we intend doing it even more. Some of the common feedback we got from SME entrepreneurs in different parts of India was that listing is very expensive. Listing means that I lose control over my company, and our compliance costs will go very high. In fact, in some cases, and I'm sure some of you from the profession are sitting here, in some cases the promoters told me that I have been told that the cost of listing will be as high as 9% or 10%. Now, obviously, if this is the type of message we are giving to promoters of small and medium enterprises across the country, the growth of companies listing on the stock exchanges will actually not happen. So we have to be very mindful of the developmental role that all of you have to play. It is true that the role for development is primarily on the shoulders of the government and on the regulator. But it is also true that all of us who are participants in the market have to take this message forward. If SME listing takes place in a big way in this country, and you know what has been the contribution of SMEs in matters like exports, providing employment, you will imagine what contribution we can make through the mechanism of SME listing. Another area where we have been able to take some measures is with regard to institutional trading platform. This platform was conceived from the point of view that if there are some institutional investors in a small company and the company is not getting listed, how do we provide them an exit opportunity? Some companies have got listed, and now I'm sure some of you may be aware that we are going to come out with an entire new set of guidelines for startups, the technology startups. And we have come out with our discussion paper. I'm hopeful that by June, the SEBI regulations on the startups, and we have thought of in the discussion paper, we have even indicated that We are thinking of doing away with the requirement of declaring somebody as a promoter there. The disclosure requirements will be made less hard. The requirements with regard to staying invested in the company post-listing. So all those things we are going to liberalize. And the feedback, even yesterday we had a very detailed meeting with the representatives from some of the startups, and I'm surprised, and I will encourage all of you to go to places like Bangalore or Pune or Trivandrum or Gurgaon and see what level of entrepreneurial activity is taking place in our country. Maybe some of us are not aware of that. Young people with very innovative minds are coming out with fantastic solutions, having business possibilities and potentials. So all of us have to think together how we are able to provide them some means to raise capital. SEBI has also recently come out with guidelines on municipal bonds, and I'm sure if we want to make 100 smart cities or even develop other cities, we have to provide means of fundraising and capital raising by the municipal bodies. So we have come out with our regulations. We are actually seriously looking towards electronic IPO, and I'm sure in next couple of months, that regulation will also be announced. A mention was made about how to make KYC very simple, and I fully endorse the suggestion. And we are seriously working on it, and electronic KYC is something on which we are going to take our decision very shortly. I'll also like to mention, because Mr. Thakkar talked about his visit to Germany and how he saw that skill development has been a very important growth factor for the growth of that country, Germany. We have felt that for the financial sector, especially the securities market, the need for trained manpower is so acute, and it is so very difficult to get a trained manpower. In fact, as per the last survey done or assessment done, it was not a survey, but it was an assessment done, the total shortfall of trained manpower in the securities market is more than 30,000. There are people who have been trained on matters of finance, but they have not been trained on matters of securities market, especially the compliance requirements, the risk management requirements, and so on. SEBI has set up an institution called National Institute of Securities Market. This institute is already functioning for last 6-7 years. We have now started the process of shifting the institute to Patal Ganga, where the government of Maharashtra has given us 70 acres of land, and a huge campus is coming up. SEBI is funding this project, and construction is fairly in advanced stage. In the month of February, we took some of the business leaders from Mumbai to see for themselves what all is happening there. While some of you may be aware that NISM is working in the area of certification, and there are more than 160 cities in the country where certification or testing is being done. But the main focus of NISM is going to be in the area of providing trained manpower and for the securities market. And for that, we are already conducting exams in the area of, which are in the nature of one-year course. And some of the banks, large banks, have already started utilizing the facilities of NISM for their newly recruited employees. So when the employees are being recruited, they are sent straight away to NISM. They have a 6 months to one year course there, and then they are coming out, and the feedback has been fantastic about the contribution that they can now make. I will encourage all of you to make yourself familiar with what all facilities NISM can provide, and to the extent you feel comfortable, I would encourage all of you to take advantage of it, because the need for trained manpower is going to be larger and larger. If we want our country to go, and if we believe that our country is going to grow at 8% plus, then our market has to grow at a certain level. And if our market has to grow at a certain level, the need for trained manpower is going to be more and more. When I talked about FII, foreign institutional investors, and the money that they have put in this country, even in the year 2014-15, about $45 billion was invested by them. There is one worry in the minds of many analysts, that is our market being driven by the FIIs? Are we becoming too dependent upon the foreign flows? And to a large extent, this matter has to be addressed. This question has to be addressed. I'm happy that in the same year, the domestic mutual fund industry did a very good job. In fact, more than the total net flow that has come in the equity market through the mutual funds, I'm happy that the percentage of money which is coming from beyond 15 cities, that has shown healthy sign of growth. So while we are used to a situation where our fund flows come mainly from the top 15 cities, in 2014-15, the flows from other cities beyond these 15 has grown, and I'm sure that trend will continue. But I'm also very happy to note, and this is something which I have been talking about it, even in last year I had made this point, that we needed a serious reform in the pension area. And I'm happy, and all of us must compliment the government for taking the decision that now 5% of the equity flows into EPFO will be invested in the equity market. And I'm sure other pension funds are also going to follow, and as and when they get more comfort, this 5% will be further increased. You are aware that Ministry of Finance already has permitted them to invest up to 15% in the equity market. And if you look at the numbers, if 15% is coming into the market from the pension industry and the mutual fund and insurance industry also keep growing, then the domestic institutional flow will be really something which can provide a counterbalance to the foreign flows into the country, and we will have a very healthy and balanced growth in the market. Another thing which I want to say is that we are a $2 trillion economy, and there are various estimates. Even if you look at the growth at the rate of 8%, you can imagine where we will be 5 years from now, 10 years from now. And for an economy which is going to be $10 trillion or $15 trillion, it cannot be expected that only the government or the regulators will provide the leadership for the growth of the economy. All of us, the business leaders, the intermediaries, the participants in the securities market, have also to change their way of thinking and start planning for a situation which is completely different from where India was 20 years ago, or maybe where India is today. And in that context, I would like to highlight that the corporate leadership in this country has to come to terms with issues like shareholder democracy. In many parts of the world which are evolved and developed, you can see for yourself what pressures are there from the shareholders about having a legitimate say in running the affairs of the companies. SEBI has come out with very detailed guidelines on corporate governance. I'm sure you are aware of it, and I don't want to enumerate them. But one area where which I would like to mention particularly here is the area of having board diversity. The area of board diversity and having representation of women in the corporate boards. SEBI has come out with a very small initiative in this area, that is have one women director in the corporate boards. But I'm aggrieved to note that almost 1/3 of the listed companies have not followed the deadline, and the timeline was given more than a year ago. Of course, we had to take some penal action, and we are not very happy about taking the penal actions, and the penal actions have been graded. So if we have given them some time, and if they don't meet those timelines, maybe the action will become more and more severe. But it is not a question of penalizing people. Why can't the feeling and the impetus come from the corporate shareholders and the board itself that this is something which we need to do? In fact, what SEBI has done is a very mild form of ensuring diversity. For example, SEBI has said that you have one woman director. SEBI has not insisted that that director should be an independent director. If you look around the world, and especially I'm talking of some of the European countries, they insist that it should be an independent director. Not only that, there are countries, especially in Europe, where they insist that almost 1/4 of the directors should be women directors. This is one small example I am giving. Why are we afraid of encouraging our women to participate in the governance of our companies? We have talked about related party transactions in our corporate governance circular, and we have talked about pre-approval of all related party transactions by the audit committee, the remuneration committee having majority representation from independent directors, rotation of the auditors, all those things have happened. But we must, the point I am trying to make is that we must start thinking of the next level so that investors in India and outside India feel comfortable that while the Indian economy is doing well, while the market is doing well, we are also comfortable about the governance of the companies that we have. And lastly, in the same tone, I would also like to mention that those who are participating in the market, the intermediaries and the market participants, also must start thinking in an entirely new way about the need of a young, active population which is investing in the market. I'm pained that we had two recent instances where the intermediaries have walked away with clients' money. And the client's money and the proprietary money was commingled against stock exchange requirements, against SEBI requirements. We had to take some very strong measures, and we'll continue to take those measures. But believe me, our job is not to penalize people. Our job is to talk to you, understand your problem, and to ensure that you and SEBI and the stock exchange, we have to jointly work towards ensuring and appreciating the need of the investor. If we are able to convince the investor that we are able to jointly bring about a very good ecosystem, I think your business will also grow and this country will grow. So I thought I should mention this because this is an opportunity where I could not resist pointing it out, that don't depend upon or don't bank upon the enforcement jurisdiction of SEBI for things to improve. Let us jointly do that. And I also must assure you that if there is any area where anybody feels that what SEBI is doing is wrong or what SEBI is doing is cumbersome, it is impractical, please come back to us. Let us know. We will sit across the table, have a dialogue with you, and try to resolve your issues. But the type of impression, and a mention was made about a scam. A scam is a very strong word, so I didn't want to use that. But let us try together to build a trust in the market. If we are able to build that trust, then the investment outlook in 2015 and for next 100 years will be fantastic. Thank you very much.